Hi everyone, I'm Jo and today I'm going to give you a quick demo of Notion's new chart features. They're great for tracking project progress, analysing sales figures and finances, or even tracking your habits. But here I'm going to use Olympic medal data to demo how to quickly get started with Notion's donut, line and bar charts. I'll put a link to the template I'm using in the description below, and I will update the data once the Olympics wraps up. Let's start by creating a donut chart or pie chart. Just type / and C and then pick donut from the list of chart types. It will automatically create a chart with some default data, but we want to link it to this medal table. Now, let's display the medal colour and the number of medals. To do this, first go to What to Show and select Medal Type. Then for each slice represents, I'm just going to have it as count because I just want to count the medals. This will show the distribution of gold, silver and bronze medals, which is obviously equal. So to make this chart mean something, I'll add a filter on the country. You can do this the same way as you do for databases. Go to the filters, select country, and I'll choose GBR, Great Britain. Now we can see the breakdown of medals won by Great Britain so far. Now let me show you how to change the look and feel of this chart. Under Style, you can pick the colour theme. It's set to auto by default, which is great if you're showing a select property like I am with the medal colour. Notion will automatically use the same colours in the chart, which is perfect for displaying this medal data. But you can also choose themes like green, purple or the standard colourful option. You can style it more under More Style options. You can change the size of the chart, small, medium, large, etc. You can toggle the central total value on and off. I'm going to keep it on. The colour by value seems to adjust the tone of the colours based on the values. You can toggle the legend on and off. I'm going to keep this on. And finally, you can set data labels. You can choose to show the value, name, or both. Since I'm using the legend, I'll select to show just the value. Finally, I'll switch the colour back to auto so that the medals are shown in their correct colours. Donut charts are great for comparing data, so let's copy this chart and I'll place it next to the original one. And for this second chart, I'm going to filter the data to show the medals won by Australia, so we can easily compare the medal counts between these two countries.
One thing you'll notice is that the medal colours are in different orders on each chart. To make it easier to compare, they really should be in the same order. Do this by going to the Sort By section, and instead of sorting by value, you select to sort by the medal type. So I'll do this for both donut charts, and you can see it's much easier to compare the two side by side. Finally, I'll label the charts so you can see what each is showing.
Okay, next, let's look at creating bar charts. To get started, type \bar. You'll see the bar chart options pop up, and let's start with the vertical bar chart. I'm going to connect it to the medals database. Now for this chart, I want to show the number of medals won in each sport. So let's set the x-axis to discipline. This will give us the different sports or events along the bottom. Then for the y-axis, we'll keep it simple with count. And now you've got a bar chart showing how many medals were won in each event. But let's make this a little bit more interesting and again compare the two countries. First, filter the chart to show only Australia and Great Britain. You'll notice that the events with 0 medals are still showing on the chart. So to clean that up, I'll toggle on the Omit 0 Values option. Now, to make the comparison clearer, we'll go to the group by section on the y-axis and select country. Now we can clearly see how Australia and Great Britain stack up against each other across different sports. Another useful tip, because country is a select property in the database, the chart automatically matches the bar colours to the select colours. So while you can't directly pick the colour of a bar in the chart, you can change the select colour itself. So let's go ahead and change Great Britain's colour to blue and Australia's to green, which will reflect their team colours. And you can see what happens as I do this. The chart colours update instantly to match. It's a great way to add some visual consistency to your data. Now let's customize the chart further. Much like the donut chart, you can adjust the height. Then there's group style. You've got a few options here: stacked, percentage stacked, or not stacked. And I'm going to play around with these so you can see how each one looks. Personally, I like the stacked option for this data, so I'll stick with that. Next is grid lines. You can show vertical, horizontal, both, or none at all. You can also label the axes. Let's add a label for the x-axis so we know these are different sports. And lastly, data labels. You can toggle them on or off depending on your preference. And for this chart, I'll keep them off, but it's really up to you. Let me show you a few ways to interact with your chart now it's all set up. So if you hover over the bars, you'll see the exact data figures pop up, which is pretty handy for getting a quick look at the numbers. And then watch what happens when I hover over an option in the legend, like Australia. The corresponding bars in the chart get highlighted, making it easy to focus on just that country's performance. And here's another little trick. If you click on a legend item, like I'll click on Australia, it disappears from the chart, so you're only looking at Great Britain's figures. Click it again and Australia's back. Super simple for comparing or isolating data. You can also change the chart type at any time. Just go to the view options and select the chart you want to switch it to. I'm going to change this to a horizontal bar chart, and you can see the discipline names are slightly easier to read in this format. And the horizontal chart has all the same style options as the vertical one. But for now, I'm just going to stick to the vertical chart. And finally, I'll show you how to export your charts. Head over to the view options and select Save Chart As. You can choose a background colour or go with no background at all. Then save it as either a PNG or an SVG file. Great for adding to presentations, reports, or just sharing with your team. And finally, I'm going to create a line chart. Just like before, type \C and pick the line chart option. Line charts are perfect for tracking trends over time. So let's set this up to show medals won by date. On the x-axis, I'll select date and set it to display by day, and leave the y-axis as account. Now let's filter the data to focus on the two countries, Great Britain and Australia. And then in the view options, I'll first toggle on omit zero values. Then I'll group the data by country, and just like that, you can see a separate line for each country displayed on the chart. It's a great way to compare their performance over time. There are some additional style options available for line charts. First, you can adjust the height of the chart just like the other two. And next is group style. You can choose between stacked or percentage, and I'll stick with stacked for this example. You can also choose whether or not to display axis names, and I'll keep both off for a cleaner look. There's a smooth line toggle which changes the appearance of the lines, making them more fluid. Then you can toggle the gradient area on or off. I'll keep it off for now to focus on the lines themselves. And finally, you can toggle the legend and data labels. I'll turn off the data labels since it seems to only be showing the totals, which doesn't add much value here. And there you have it, a line chart that gives you a clear view of how these two countries performed over time in the Olympics. When you combine this with the other charts we've made, you've got a pretty comprehensive dashboard showcasing their performances. Before I finish up, here are a few additional tips for using charts in Notion. First, you can add tabs to your charts to either show other charts, or what I find really useful is to display the data behind the chart. For example, on this line chart, I'm going to add a view and link it to the medals database. I'll filter the data to just show Great Britain and Australia, so now you can easily switch between viewing the chart and the underlying data. Another tip is to put your charts into a toggle list, so you can choose whether to view them or not on a page. But if you do that, you might notice it's impossible to get the charts side by side in the toggle. To get around this, arrange the charts on a separate page first. I'll move them to a new page, arrange them the way I want to, and then go back, click on the page and select Turn Into, and I'm going to choose Toggle Header 3. So now all the charts are arranged how I want them within a toggle. This is really handy if you have a lot going on in a page and want to keep things organised. And that's a quick overview of the new chart functions in Notion. Remember, I've got a link to the Olympic template in the description below, and I'll be updating it with the final data once the Olympics has finished. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this demo helpful.